Today's first reading from the book of the prophet Daniel takes place during the Babylonian exile. You remember at one point in history the Babylonians conquered Jerusalem and then exiled all of its inhabitants to Babylon. And so the scene takes place in Babylon with the king, Nebuchadnezzar, now having before him Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and insisting that they worship his God. Now, we know that the three of them remain faithful to the God of Israel, and they refuse to worship the God of Nebuchadnezzar. So Nebuchadnezzar has the three of them bound and cast into the fire. It's important to realize that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's faith did not spare them from the execution of Nebuchadnezzar. They are killed in that fire. It's just that when Nebuchadnezzar looks into the furnace, he sees four characters, which are presumably the three young men who are executed, and one who looks like the Son of Man, or perhaps an angel. The vision is one that shows us that although Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were killed physically while their bodies died, they continued to live, and their life was preserved for God forever. And I think that's the product of their faithfulness, that if they were faithful as they were, they would live forever with God. You see, some Christians today believe that their faith will save them from this virus that is going around. And we know of situations where one pastor in Florida is still gathering large groups of people to worship and praise together on the idea that if they're faithful to God and to Christ, they will not get the virus. Pastor Rick Warren, in an interview, said, "That's not faith, that's presumption." It's presumption to believe that just because we believe in God and in Christ, that God will preserve us physically from any harm that will come to us. We know that eventually all of us will die for whatever reason. The promise that God makes to the faithful is not that they will be physically saved from all harm, but that they will be spiritually saved from all harm. And that if they have faith, God will preserve their life for all eternity. So that during this time of crisis, Christians of faith must not be presumptuous that God will save them simply because they believe. Christians of faith must be prudent. They must use the brains and the knowledge and the wisdom that God has blessed us with to make the right choices, to be able to love each other and to protect one another from this virus that is spreading among us. That is what faith is, not that God will simply protect us from the physical harm we may come to, but that God will give us the wisdom to know how to live in this world